Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to another episode of iNewz. And quick apologies because I know that we've been really off schedule with our iNewz episodes. But now that everything's sort of settled down, we should start getting back to a normal schedule again and getting everything done the way we need to get done. So today we are here, obviously, with my lovely, who claims to be sane co-host, Wolf
I am
Hartnell.
saying. Well, I was saying before I joined this grid.
It's all rhetorical. It's simply
Yes.
just rhetorical. Just deal with it.
Mhm.
Today, we're going to be talking to Bain Finch about Relay for Life here in Worlds. Say hi, Bain.
Hello, how are you?
That was way too gentlemanly. Someday we'll get him into the whole non-gentlemanly thing. Yeah,
Yeah, well,
after.
maybe by the end of this show.
That's a possibility. It's a definite possibility. All
Far
right,
too
so
time.
yeah, I know. Yeah, it goes. So a couple of things that I'm going to cover real quick. Number one, over the last 24 hours, there's been quite the rumor mill. Now, I've heard a lot of rumors over the years that I've been running in Worlds, like, hey, Philip Rosedale is supposedly my father, which I found rather humorous because just, number
I
one, we're
love
almost
that one.
I know, right? We're basically almost the same age. And number two, well, Philip hasn't exactly hit his lifestyle. He is gay and, he's an awesome dude, but we're not related. All right. I've also heard that I'm everybody on the grid, which is also very awesome. I always like to hear that. Which of course leads me sometimes to think that I should just log in a bunch of alts and then make everybody totally crazy with that. But can you imagine trying to keep up with all the conversations?
I know. Talk about
Whew.
talking to yourself.
Identity crisis, like
Yeah.
times 12 or 100 or 200 or whatever. But in the last 24 hours, there's been quite a few things that have cropped up. And I really need to sort of address them. So let me go ahead and address those real quick. Number one, I've heard that I moved to South America. No, Panama is in Central America, folks and fans. It is literally 2.5 hours south from where I used to live. It's a very small country. It's only got I think like 70 million people in it, really. So very, very tiny. Then I heard that I was not going to be able to do anything with my company, which is in Worlds, obviously, from being in Panama. I don't know, 70, I think, but you can look it up if you want. It's a very small country, so 17 wouldn't surprise me either. Um, so let me put it to you this way: Panama for 75 years was under U.S. control due to the Panama Canal because the U.S. built it. So we pretty much ran things in this country, and for that reason, a lot of things are very, very, quote, Americanized, if you will. For example, their banking system is on par with the United States. It works with the IRS revenue system. In fact, they have to. They run on the US dollar, although they have these cute little gold coin, or, well, they're silver. They're kind of like Canadian loons almost, and they're Balboas, but they count as a dollar. Um, so, just to say that I moved to evade taxes. That was a big one. So I used to live in Texas where we have no personal income tax, just so everybody knows. I just had to pay federal taxes every year, which I still have to pay because all of the bank accounts are still in the US. Um, I think there might be some confusion because I had made a post about the fact that I had lost all my credit cards. When I lost my wallet the first week that I was here in Panama, I lost everything except for my passport. Um, so essentially, when I did that, when I lost all the credit cards, everything had to be replaced. But they were still through my same bank. They were still through everything that I still run because everything is still up in the States. Um, so essentially, nothing changed on the U.S. side. Everything is still there. I'm still DMCA registered agent. The company's still based in New York. Everything is still based in the States. The servers are there. Everybody's there. I just happen to live in Panama, about 5 minutes away from the beach. So I did not move to Panama to evade taxes because I still have to pay them because my bank accounts are still in the U.S. and because I still get my pay from the U.S. There's no going around that. Sorry, just not going to happen. I also heard that we're going to get a fourth founder, which was really news to me, who was going to be a silent partner and who was going to merge their grid to ours. And no, and no. That's not happening. It's not happening. There's not going to be any more founders added or removed or anything like that. It is what it is, and that's just the way it goes. And normally I don't get a whole lot into the rumor spreading or trying to quell those rumors because for the most part I don't care enough. But when it comes to the company and things that can hurt us, you, me, the company, it's very, very much an important factor. So we don't want to let those things propagate out far. And I want you guys to know because you're also people who talk to other people. So now you've heard it from the horse's mouth. Not that I'm a horse, mind you. Anyways, um, that this is the way things are and this is the truth of the situation. I moved to Panama simply because it's a beautiful country. I've lived everywhere in the United States pretty much. I mean, I've moved so many times I can't stand it, and I've traveled most of it. So it comes a point where you just say, well, now where? International. And Panama, in all my research, was one of the best fits without too much culture shock to actually move to. And it's a great place to start if I want to expand out and actually travel other places, not move there, but travel and visit. So that's why Panama. I hope that it was fairly thorough and efficient for everybody so that they know why I moved to Panama. Which, speaking of which, I've had a lot of fun here in Panama. I want everybody to know that building codes leave a lot to be desired, just FYI. But it is a great country. So if you ever want to visit here, I have a place. You can come visit. Come visit. You'll have fun. Trust me. So, okay. With that out of the way,
Ellie has a new margarita making machine, by the way, in case
no,
that
it's not
motivates
new.
your visiting.
It's
That's
not
new to you.
new. No, it's my old margarita machine that I
Are you
had
trying to
shipped down to me.
discourage people from visiting? Because I think any margarita making machine is an additional reason to visit,
But
whether
it's
it's new
not
or not.
new. It's my old one. It's my new one that
Okay.
I just recently got shipped down to me.
Okay.
So okay, we'll talk about the bathroom in a
Still, the
second.
important part is margarita.
Margarita. Okay, so true story, true story. So I had a Margaritaville margarita machine up in Texas, and I had it transported down here. My daughter sent it down to me, and I finally got it last week. And so I'm starting to play with the new fruits and flavors that we have down here. That is so much more expensive. Oh, that's gross, Lexi. That we could use for margaritas. And I love to experiment. If anybody who's ever noticed that I love to cook and I love to play with ingredients and all that, I'm the same way with drinks. So I bought all the good stuff. I made papaya pineapple homemade margaritas last week.
That does sound
Oh,
good.
they were so yum. Anyway, so yeah, if you come down here, you're getting margaritas. Just FYI, okay? Because that's the way it goes. Well, mangoes. Okay, Sean literally was out walking the other day, and he brought two mangoes home because they just fell off the trees. I was like, "Honey, what are these?" He's like, "Oh, mangoes." I said, "Okay, all right,"
They
but they're
fell
really
off
not
the
ready to
trees.
go, huh?
That's not like fell off the back of a truck. Genuinely fell off the
We
trees.
literally, if you look outside my window here, I literally have like three mango trees right outside the house
Oh,
here.
that's so cool.
Yeah, yeah. There's just and I went to the Vivero yesterday, which is a garden center for those of you who don't know Espanol. I went there, and they just so I was looking for tomata and jalapenos, and guess what they had sitting on the floor? They had a pitaya. They had two pitaya plants. For those of you who don't know what pitaya is, in the States it's referred to as dragon fruit.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
and they cost like when I would get them in Texas when they would come in season, they were like $6 a pop just for one fruit. One fruit. I
So
got one.
basically, next in World's convention get together is at Ellie's place.
I think so. I think that's what we should do. I have this beautiful pool and it's got a big grill. We got plenty of space for everybody. Not a
That
problem.
sounds good.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. We actually, okay, true story, Lexi, because Lexi keeps going on about my bidets. All right. We actually had two bidets in this house. Two. Now, let me tell you a story about the bidets, and then you'll understand about building codes here in freaking Panama. So my bathroom has a bidet that has no like shower head on it, because bidets have to have a little head on them. Mine doesn't have one, so it's like this super power wash, man. It's absolutely amazing. Um, yeah, no, but here's the thing. I because it has no head on it, I use it to wash my feet because I'm always out at the beach and all that. So by the time I get home, my feet are filthy. So I use it to wash my feet in my shower. Then poor Sean had a bidet. He did. He did. So we get here, and the first week we're here, we hook up our hose outside to the exterior wall. to the spigot that's there. And the association then gets a hold of the landlord and tells them, well, that's our spigot. Wait, there's a spigot right on the other side. Wait, you can't have both spigots. Well, apparently they have both spigots. So the landlord got a hold of her people to come over here and put in a new spigot for us using Sean's bidet. So they ran the pipe up the wall around the shower, out the window of the bathroom, and down the wall. That's how Panamanians do things. Just FYI. Yes, there's no such thing as TMI here. So, talking about building codes, like we replaced the ceiling fans in the main living room last weekend, and like Sean swears it was done with stereo wire. It's really amazing. No, we're gonna have dragon fruit next. Going to have dragon fruit because I bought the pitaya, and it was like a great deal. It's $4.95 for the plant, which I used to spend like $16 just to buy the cuttings to get them in Texas. $4.95, and it literally has 3 cuttings on it. So I just need to take them and replant them to get the bigger ones. But I have to go to the Do It Center to put up a. I'll take pictures. I'll put them up on the forums if you guys want to see them because I've been having a lot of fun. We got a lot of room, and I can do a lot of the things. Okay, Nix, if you, I promise, if you come to Panama, I will give you margaritas. I promise. Yes, margaritas, because I love my margaritas, and I'm good at making them. Anyways, okay.
That's good enough for me.
Right? I'm promising margaritas. What more do people want out of me? Really? I mean, So, all right, so anything new with you, Wolf?
Anything new with me? I'm moving soon, in real life.
Where to? Is it to
Hopefully
Panama?
next month. Sadly, no. It's
I do that actually, but okay, go ahead.
I'm trying to persuade Teal it's not all that cold. No, I'm moving up in the country to just south of Scotland, Northumberland, which is where Teal and I went on holiday. And once I'm settled up there, we get Teal over on the visa, and we get to live together at last. So it's the first big step on doing that. So that's kind of my big news at the moment.
Yeah,
well,
sheep.
That and I found out yesterday I'm going to be a grandfather, but
Ooh, congratulations!
So thank you. So all of my news is kind of real life stuff. So, and that's it. Big adventures.
Well, yeah, I just covered all sorts of real life stuff, including bidets and horrible stereo wiring.
True.
What more do we want? I mean, come on.
Very true. My adventures are so tame compared to yours.
Yeah, we won't talk about the night that I got locked out of the condominium. Anyways.
You can't start that story and just leave it.
Yes, I can. Watch me do that. So, Bain, welcome to iNewz. Now that we've had our little real life chat with the residents and stuff, welcome.
Thank you. And way to go, Wolfie. Yeah, I can't wait for the next big step of the big adventure. That's going to be so exciting.
It is. It's very.
I know, he's kept it so quiet. Nothing on Facebook. Nothing anywhere.
I know. Well, they're very
so
private
special
people.
Though. He announced it here. I'm so proud. Yeah. Yay! Oh my, poor Teal. But there's sometimes you just sort of got to take a little bit of stuff for Teal because she puts up with Wolfie, who claims.
I was going to say poor Teal is something I've got used to hearing over the last 6 years. So
that's good. That's probably very good. All right, so Bain, I know that yesterday we got the order in for the RFL Sims. Mm-hmm. And we put them up last night. We had to do a little bit of moving around on them this morning. So tell us what you guys got in store for RFL for this year.
Well, I can't give away too many secrets because, it wouldn't be a big surprise when it happens. But yes, we were all over there and we're terraforming and starting to set up. And yeah, very exciting. I was thrilled to see that this morning.
Yeah, well, okay, you got to give us something so that the people know a little bit what to look forward to and start getting some excitement going on. I mean, okay, here's a big question. That's kind of a bad pun. Anyways, here's the big question. What do the Dinkies have planned?
Well, I know they got a concert coming up soon, and the Dinky Band is getting prepped for that one. Let's see. A few of the.
Yeah, you're being told to hush by Aminata.
Yeah.
We need little details so that we know that we need to be there.
Some kind of
Well, all you have to
teaser,
do is
something.
follow the RFL calendar, and yeah.
I barely follow my own calendar, much less my phone calendar, my Google calendar, my email calendar. You want me to follow another calendar? Really? Come on,
Okay,
give us
that's
some
all.
juicy
I'll
stuff.
just give you daily pokes of where to go and stuff like that. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
give us some little details of like. Okay, don't blow the surprises, but give us some of the little things that we can expect. You're like pulling, teeth here. Come on, give me something. Work with me.
Well, this year, Amy is definitely, she's got a real start on it already. She's designing the whole relay track this year, and
Excellent.
she is terraforming the place like mad. So I can't wait to see what she's going to pull off this year.
She's
So
a little
what are the
crazy that
dates
way.
for this? Just to let everybody know what the dates are.
Oh, well, that I could definitely do. Well, let's see. Let's get the old calendar here. And,
Just so you know, I had to correct him over on Mel Burns' show.
Yes, I know. Well, we're doing something slightly different this year. We're going to finish up our season on week 9, which is going to be October 14th. That's where we're going to be relaying. And then on the 21st, we definitely have a big surprise. The Golden Touch people are going to be doing a special show. And I am super excited about that one. And I know a lot of people are too, because they Golden Touch people. They my God, everybody just loves their show. They're just amazing. So that's going to be on the 21st, and I think there's going to be 3 shows there, Callie, something like that. She does a show. Yep, 3 shows, and I know the pyro people are definitely starting to work up on that, because I saw some of the sneaky stuff. Yes, the sneaky stuff they're thinking about. So yeah, that's going to be cool. So yeah, they're going to be definitely warming up one of your sims there when they do those shows.
And Old wants to know, how many sims do you guys have this year for the RFL?
Well, from what I saw, we're going to have 8 sims for the track, and they're going to be on 2x2 sims. And then we got another 9th sim that's going to be our entertainment sim, so we can handle the loading of all the people and stuff like that. Because last year was a bit of a learning curve there with the 2x2s.
Isn't it always?
Oh yeah. Well, and I keep saying this to people. The challenges of working through technical problems and lag is such of a great symbolism of to keep on relaying for the fight that survivors go through. What they have to deal with on a daily basis doesn't even compare to lag and a few crashes and stuff like that. Technical problems. To keep working through it and keep fighting and keep working. And that's what they do. So, and then last year was a bit of a learning curve. Like every year we've had a learning curve on something, that's the whole process of this. It's new for a lot of people. It was new for me when I first started. So,
I have a quick question. I know a couple of years ago we did the RFL and we had the InShape attached to it. Are we doing that again this year?
Yes. The InShape's been on all of our tracks ever since we set it up that first year. I think it was, I'm going to count them off here. I think it was the 3rd year he brought out InShape for the first time.
The only reason I asked that is, I made mention earlier when we were talking, behind the scenes and whatnot. One thing about Panama is everything is about networking. Doing anything here. You think it's bad in the States. Just to get a bank account, you have to network with people to get references to get a bank account.
Oh, really?
All right. Yeah. So when I say you have to network here, I'm not exaggerating. So one of the people that I met actually owns a gym here. So I wondered if maybe I can have a little whisper in her ear about maybe putting something together for an RFL relay thing for you guys.
Oh, we can definitely do something like that. Yeah. We can definitely do something like that.
I'd love to see the InShape thing pick up.
So would I.
As part of the directory thing that I've been working on for the grid and for early, I'm putting in links in there into the InShape groups so that people can list them and use them more. And I'd love to see that link into things like Relay for Life for future years as well. We've got the capacity to network all of those things within the grid as well, to get people talking to each other within the grid. So, and anybody externally, that'd be brilliant.
Yeah, well, 'cause I think there was a bit of a buzz. We're going to get an in-shape track on Hope Village Sims themselves, which is the home of Relay, and from there we'll also have the Relay in-shape tracks as well when we do that. So I think last year we had 3 paths on it. We had one went down the track. We had one that kind of went all over the place, and I think I had a third one that just kind of went through the campsites or something like that.
So the question is, are the Dinkies going to race us?
That was funny that year. Oh,
Lex has just asked to describe what InShape is for folks that don't know.
All right, so InShape is a program that Trank wrote that is it works externally with your motion sensor on your phone, your watch, whatever you happen to have, whether like even if you use something like Map My Walk, whatever. So when you're on a treadmill, or I think it works for the bicycles too, doesn't it, Wolf? Yes, yeah, it does.
Yeah, it works on any exercise machine.
Yeah, any exercise machine, and you're on it, and you get pushed along here in the grid on the region that you're on that's using InShape. You just hop on a prim, and basically Wolfie wrote that part of it, which is really cool. And it pushes you along on a track so that you're actually doing something virtually while you're sitting there on your little exercise machine.
Yep.
So that's what InShape is.
I know Amara one year, she had a little trampoline and she had her motion infit thing on her cell phone, and she was just bouncing up and down, and that was enough for it to move it.
Yeah.
So all it needed to detect some movement and you'll be moving. So treadmill, anything.
Anybody can record a route on their land. You just walk around and it records the route. I'm working on a version for boats as well, so that people can do sort of when they're rowing in gyms and stuff, and be able to move around a route on that as well. And it's something that I would really, really like to see grow again. We have a permanent region actually, which is an InShape region over on the events sims. Which goes through 4 seasons.
Okay, see, here we go with the whole braining, the creativity thing. So if we could get people on their treadmills and whatnot that were running their boats in worlds, we could probably run them through the oceans on various tracks.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I just did there?
Yep.
See what I just did?
It has a huge potential, and I really love it. There is a natural synergy with this and with Relay for Life. I'd love to see that build. I mean, having the InShape routes as part of Relay for Life is a brilliant thing. The fact that people can actually be running on exercise machines at home or the gym or whatever, and be running around the track and supporting Relay for Life, getting themselves fitter and healthier while they're doing that, I think is a brilliant synergy. That's very cool.
And as Lexi said, you can also set up races, and I had thought of that, as setting up an actual racetrack, like a high school racetrack.
Yes,
on one of the sims. And
that would be very cool.
Yeah, that'd be very cool.
I love how this goes with these shows.
We never
get the right minds together.
For just so everybody in the audience knows, we don't script any of this. We have no idea what we're actually. I mean, obviously, Wolf and I come in. We have some preconceived idea of questions that we want to ask, but it's very, very freeform. And the reason it's freeform is because we don't want it to be scripted, because it sort of blocks the creativity of what we want to do. I think we probably could, Lexi. Lexi asked, "Can you drink margaritas and set off the motion sensor?" Yeah, I think I can figure that out.
That opens up a whole new venue. Oh, yeah. But remember, we got to keep it PG.
Yeah, I'm not sure Tranquility would approve, given that setting shape up to get people healthier.
You obviously don't know David very well.
No, I don't know him that well. So
the fact that he actually likes margaritas as well. Let's just leave it at that. Not
okay.
I mean, but he's not against margaritas at all.
Good. Well, I always thought he had just the perfect amount of sanity, which is, in my experience, a tiny little shred. So
wow, he had
gotta have some.
Man, oh my goodness. Anyways, all right, back to RFL. All right, so Ami's building up all the tracks and everything. We're gonna have InShape in there. What are some of the major highlights that people should definitely not miss?
Well, our relay is built off a real life template, and there's 3 components of every relay. And we started off with the survivor caregiver lap give them a cheer. They always get the first try at the track, and so that is, one major part of all relays around the world, and that is to celebrate our survivors and their caregivers. The next big part is all relays have three parts, and the second one is the luminaria ceremony, an hour, and that's usually at dusk when night falls, and that's when we light our luminarias and dedicate them to our fallen friends and family members and all the people who've been touched with cancer, and celebrate our survivors, and we celebrate their caregivers with the luminarias that light our track.
Mm-hmm.
We relay through the night, and in the morning is where you find the fight back ceremony. And the fight back ceremony is where we make a commitment to change things in the year to come. And that change could be either personal, of trying to lose some weight or quit smoking or do something positive towards relay. So externally, I'm going to do more fundraising, I'm going to do this, and get my aunt involved or whatever, and that's all part of the fight back ceremony. And then we relay for a little while longer until we get to the end, and right at the end, we tend to celebrate the end with a very special ceremony called the empty table ceremony, and and then we get back on the track and we take our last lap, and it's part of the end of our 12 hours. Well, that's pretty much a template that's out there for all relays. Doesn't matter where in the world they are.
Okay. So here's my takeaway. So if you've ever been a caregiver with cancer, then obviously there's this really hits close to home. I know that we've got some here in Worlds. We've obviously dealt with it quite a few times with various residents. Is a list in my head of all those wonderful residents who we've lost over the years.
Yeah.
And then we have so the caregiver ceremony it's really, because I don't think people really understand how draining it can be just to be a caregiver.
Oh.
Yeah, I haven't, not with cancer, but my great uncle who had Alzheimer's, so I saw how that drained the family. It's really a draining experience.
Yep.
It's not just a lot of work, it's the emotional experience of watching somebody who's been a strength in your life fading. It's a huge toll to take.
It is. We can't thank our caregivers enough, because they are the wings, the wind beneath our sails. Because without them, so many of us would just fall by the side. We can't live without our caregivers. And going
quite literally,
going well beyond cancer, and as you mentioned, Alzheimer's and all the other all the other life stopping events of injuries or other medical issues and stuff like that, well beyond cancer is it's such of a big concern, because they're giving so much value that it's not being covered by healthcare, it's not being covered by anything, and they're surviving. I don't know how, because you got to do all this caregiving, and they still need to make an income.
Yep.
Yeah.
For themselves, their family, and the people they're caring for. The burden on these people is just incredible.
Yeah, that it is. That is.
I was remarking to a friend the other day, a relatively new friend to the Golden Touch group, which is an extremely, as well as being a theatre group, it's an extremely supportive group of people, and somebody relatively new to that for us is someone that I was saying the other day is the kind of person that I consider to be a true hero. Now, my dad was a firefighter, so I know heroes, and this is somebody like many others who was very ill with cancer, and like all survivors, has a clock ticking in the back of her mind all the time. wondering when it's going to come back. I think for survivors, it's not a question of if.
No.
It's always a question of when. To them, it's a question of when. Now, the easier option with that would be to try and forget about it and move on and not think about it. But so many of these people, and this friend particularly, invests so much of her time in supporting other people through cancer and supporting fundraising for it. I've lost dear people to cancer, but I've been blessed not to have that myself, at least not yet. I hope never. I can't begin to understand what it is like to survive that, what it is like to have been that reminded of your mortality, and yet to turn around and support other people going through that, to remind yourself every day of what a threat that is to you as well, is just, to my mind, that's what a hero is. And I see so much of that with Relay for Life. So many people who come along to support it and support it every day in their lives and support other people with that constant reminder of this terrifying thing in their own life. And it's just, I can't find any better word for it than heroic.
Yeah, I'm on the same page with you there, Wolf. What I've seen over my years with Relay and the people I've relayed with, you got to remember, a good chunk of these people, as you say, have had cancer or are fighting cancer.
Yes.
And they're still out there, and they're telling their stories and saying, like, this is my, this is what I'm going through, and thanks for the help of people like you, and in your donations and blah blah blah, and this is how you've been helping me, and you're just like, oh my God, and just from putting a few Izzies in a kiosk, it's just amazing,
It's refreshing. I think,
it's inspiring.
The cancer isn't, but in a world where we've got so much awful stuff going on, and the political situations, and all of the storms and this awful stuff happening, and people are struggling so much, and yet people are pulling together in these incredible ways and showing the beauty of humanity. In all of that. And whilst I wish for all the world there were no cancer and there were no storms, and I wish that none of this happened, I still think that we need that reminder that the vast majority of human nature is this incredible ability to support each other, no matter what the sacrifice made to do that. And I think one of the things that I love about Relay for Life, it's such a dark subject to be raising funds for. It's such a horrifying nightmare of a thing, and yet it's almost unbeatable for that sense of community, for that sense of celebration. That's the part of it that I'm struck by more than anything else. The Relay for Life event is at least as much about celebrating the survivors and the community and everything else, as it is about focusing on the darkness of a disease. And I think that's an incredible thing to see.
Oh, it is, and there's a saying, and the people who live it just blow me away, and the saying is, I have cancer, but cancer didn't have me. And you just see them in their lives and their actions and the way they carry themselves, and I'm just in awe, awe.
Yep. Well, Old Soul mentioned something earlier. He said, how can you have caregivers in virtual worlds? I think that one of the most powerful things that happens with a virtual world is bringing together a community of people. I've grown a family here, people that I've met and got close to in here, that I would never have had in real life. And those people have helped me through some things that I would not have got through, some very difficult situations in real life. And they're amazing. They are I mean, my own father was brought to tears on one occasion when he finally understood what this virtual family meant to me, the support that they gave me. It literally reduced him to tears. He was crying on the phone. And this is the firefighter. You know, this is a kind of a
Somebody who's
guy's
seen it
guy,
all.
sort
Yeah.
of, yeah. And he said, I am so glad that you have found those people. He said, obviously as parents, we worry about you.
Yeah.
He said it means a world to us to know that you've got that community of people around you, that close family that do so much to help each other out. And I think that when people talk about, sort of relay for life in real life and, how can it work in virtual, I think the really important parts of it work incredibly well in here.
Yes.
That there are people either suffering from cancer or survivors, or just generally people that will not be able to get to some kind of gathering in real
Yes.
life.
Oh,
But
I've
they
had
can
that.
come in here. They can
Yep.
find support in here. And I think it's probably about the most beautiful thing of virtual worlds. And I felt that since I joined Second Life 11 or 12 years ago, is that ability to bring people together, that when they can't do that in real life. And Relay for Life is a perfect case of that.
Oh, I'm
Well,
glad you brought that up, because that is something that I've known for a long time too. Is that the virtual side gives people the ability to connect to communities they're not able to in real life because of, I live out in the country. Even to get to a relay event, I'm talking an hour drive. Well,
Yeah.
in 1 hour, you know what I can do in an hour here?
Yeah.
And then you got an hour drive back. So,
Well, Tamara just said something that I think you guys sort of skipped because you were talking, and I think she's pretty much got it right. And she didn't say it;
yes.
it was somebody else who said it. That the beauty of your virtual worlds is we see with our feelings and not with our eyes.
Yes.
And
Yes.
how often is that actually the case?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, it's like Lexi just said. You get to know people from the inside out.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you really do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a religious person, but I'm a very spiritual one. And for me, my first experiences in Second Life all those years ago just absolutely stunned me in terms of realizing that these people that I got talking to, it was like our souls kind of met up with each other, and there was no business of appearance or even gender, something that people instinctively process in real life whether they want to or not. There's no issue of that.
Yes.
It's a case. I mean, you could be talking to a tiny. I love the tinies. I love the tiny community. I'm part of it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. For the vast majority of us, at least, it doesn't matter what the avatar looks like, because we know that that's an avatar the other person has created. It's interesting because it's something to talk to that other person about. Why did you choose to look that way in here? But that's the only kind of relevance. The rest of it is actually getting to talk to somebody really just kind of soul to soul.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yes.
when you lose body language, you suddenly have to, rely on other things. So now you're looking at chat a little more intently. You're not just, listening to an answer. Yeah, whatever. You actually have to, read what they're saying.
Well,
through all the Taiwanese on top of that. But that just makes it more interesting.
Well, that's the thing. I
I will develop a Taiwanese translator.
Very good. Thank you.
Well, I have Asperger's syndrome, which most people here know about. It's a kind of autism, but it means that I lack the instinctive ability to read facial expression or to use facial expression correctly myself. And I've had to teach myself to read body language and to actually do the right body language to communicate properly with other people. But it's not instinctive for me. And I was, I suppose, amazed at first, and then it clicked and made perfect sense how many people there are in here with Asperger's. Who, because for us it's a level playing field. It takes away all the things that present challenges and assumptions in real life, and I think that's the thing. It's that assumption thing that is so dangerous. And if you take those things out of the equation, if you take away body language and whatever, just a very, very quick story to illustrate this. I saw two people talking, sitting on sofas chatting to each other, two friends of mine. And one of them was getting really, really irritated, and finally said to the other, "Look, I know you're not really interested in what I'm saying." And the other one said, "No, I really am. You know what?" And the first one was getting really, really annoyed and said, "You know, I'm gonna go." And I was sitting there fascinated, because the problem was that the person listening had a really fidgety animation overrider. So they were sat on this sofa, just kind of constantly adjusting their position, and all it was an animation overrider. But subconsciously, the person talking is reading that body language and thinking they're bored, they're restless.
Right.
So it's quite fascinating to see people, particularly when they're new to virtual worlds, just still processing those inputs. Um, but for a lot of people with disabilities, to come into virtual worlds to be part of these things, that wouldn't be able to. So for me, for example, I wouldn't be able to get to a Relay for Life event in real life. My only way of taking part in that is to be here. So it's not just an easing sort of way of doing things. It is the only way so many of these people can be part of this.
Nix has a question for you,
Hmm.
Bain. What have you found to be the most rewarding part of your connection with RFL?
Oh, that is a tough one.
I would imagine there's probably, I would almost take it as sort of a mixed bag, if you will, because there's rewarding and then there's heartbreak.
Yes. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's the dark side of Relay. But even with that, I think the most rewarding thing I've got personally is I'm more in tune with my own personal emotions. I'm not afraid to cry. God, there's not a day I don't log onto my computer and check my Facebook. There's not a story up there that doesn't move me. The stories and what my friends are going through right now in their lives, it's just,
Yeah.
I guess for me, it's made me realize that, no matter how crappy my life is, there's other people having a hell of a lot worse day. And if I can make their day a little brighter, then I've done a good thing, I guess. And it's not until recently that, I've come to made that realization that everybody struggles with something, and I don't need to make their day harder.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's made me realize to be more gentler, to be more caring about the things going on around me.
It's very powerful to realize that not only are you not alone, but because of you, somebody else isn't alone.
Yeah.
I don't think there can be anything, no matter how painful and difficult that is.
Yeah.
And in supporting cancer, there's a lot of that is very painful.
There's a thing going around. You've probably seen it if you're on Facebook. The semicolon tattoo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, I've seen it.
You know all about that, right?
Yeah.
Lady on the bus this morning. She was just, I'm sitting on my bus and sipping my coffee on the way to work, and lady gets on, and the bus is somewhat full, so she kind of stands behind me and holds onto the rail, and I look up, and here's a tattoo on her wrist, a semicolon. I just kind of reached up, and I just kind of held her hand for a bit and smiled at her. She smiled back and nodded. That's all I needed to say.
Yep. We're not alone.
We're not alone.
Our world, our culture quite often isolates people. Anything that brings us back together and reminds us that, underneath everything else that's going on, we're not alone.
Yeah.
Okay, so Nix has a quick follow-up question because we're going on 45 minutes here, and poor Bensky will probably want to shoot us for all the editing he's going to have to do. And Nix would like to know what helped you realize this.
Probably my very first relay kickoff is probably my most defining moment of my life, probably. Up in that point, I've been searching for a place to belong, something I want to be part of, something that was bigger than I was. And I had joined Second Life. I just created an avatar, had a horrible, experience with it, quit, started back up again with a new account. Found this wonderful place for to kind of give shelter to people and get their bearings before they get out and have some fun. First friend that I met there, she was terminal with cancer, and her days were very limited, and she told me her story, and I was just absolutely decimated for what she was going through, and
Yeah.
just amazed on her strength, that what she was trying to accomplish before the end came. And sure enough, well, it was less than a month, and we got the message that she had passed away, and we had a wake. And I began to search. And I searched, and I bumped into a friend, and they told me about this, and I went and checked it out, found some more information, found some new people. Eventually, down the line, said, hey, why don't you come see what this thing called Relay for Life is? Oh, okay. And I went and, hung around with a team who was doing some preseason planning, and this is kind of cool. And then we went to the kickoff. That was the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life. And went through the speeches, and then the keynote speaker came up, and she told her story. And I don't think I heard a word after the first sentence. I was just a complete ball of mess. I was sobbing, I was crying, I was going through tissues left, right, and center. And I realized that I found where I belonged. I found my niche. It's something I could do that can make a difference, and I've just been giving it ever since. And then shortly thereafter, I found a sign that said Relay for Life and InWorlds. InWorlds? What's this InWorlds thing? So the account jumped over and got involved here. And I've also been involved with Relay for Life and the Real Life Grid, where I live for the Canadian Cancer Society. And I've just been giving it ever since. And I just love it. The people I meet, the stories they share, and the hardships, the successes, their dreams and their wishes, and just seeing the progress of the research that's going on in the last 5 years, just amazing. Amazing. We are making leaps and bounds. Progress of, another big one this I just posted was about childhood cancer. They just made a major breakthrough with some drugs and a bit more targeting the proper genes for the immunotherapy stuff that they're doing with that. And it's just amazing. So I'm pretty excited on that one.
Okay.
The research is incredible. I just wanted to add to that's been one of the objectives with Relay for Life of InWorlds this year, has been converting the amounts raised into hours of research.
Yeah.
That's something that's been done, and I've just checked, and we're up around 150 hours of research.
I know. We've almost funding a whole month of research there.
Yeah, it's everything really, really does count. All of those donations count. They all make a difference.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to wrap up. Not necessarily RFL centric here, but this is kind of our time of the year where I always get so amazed by our residents.
Aren't they amazing?
We start with RFL. We go into a little bit of funny stuff with our Fright Fest, etc. But then we hit our Toys for Tots drive.
Yep.
And I don't know what it is about this time of year. I have no idea, but I know that this is pretty much how it works out. And over the years, to watch our residents and to see how much you give, if it wasn't for you, our residents, RFL wouldn't be here. They wouldn't be getting the money for the research. The kids would not be getting their Christmas, etc. There's just so much that I know a lot of you sometimes wonder if it really makes a difference, but it does.
Oh, it does.
Oh, it does. It's huge.
You may not realize it on just a small, little, teeny, tiny scale that it's just your donation, but it is year after year after year that you guys just give your hearts and your souls. And it is absolutely amazing to me how huge and helpful all of you are when it comes to these. So I just want to give a huge thank you even before we really even hit the season, as to
Oh yeah.
exactly how wonderful you all are. I want you all to know all of that.
Well, on a personal level, you know, I would like to add to that. Thank you for reminding me every year what amazing creatures we are. That
Oh, I know.
people aren't selfish and wrapped up and, you know, stuck in their own lives and, you know, all the people that the news would love us to believe the world is about. This, all of this, the Toys for Tots, the Relay for Life, the all of that in our little community here reminds me a necessary reminder this time of year for me. I suffer from depression, so as the days get shorter, I would struggle, and I have struggled in previous years before I came to Inworld. Um, just to be reminded with all of this generosity and amazing people, just reminds me that people are actually pretty cool. So thank you for that.
Sometimes. I
Most
also
of them.
want to put a little shout out. As many of you know, we have had one hell of a hurricane season.
Oh,
Yeah,
And between Texas and Puerto Rico, St. Martin's, Florida. Um, if there's anything that you can do, I mean, all of these places have just been battered, and there's more coming. Puerto Rico can't even get supplies right now because of Maria coming in.
yeah,
Um, the freighters are being turned away because they can't get through there. If there's anybody you know or anything that you can do to help, I'm sure there's so many people who would appreciate it. This is again, it's unprecedented. But I just want to say, if there's something that you can do, please do. I know, I've watched the Cajun Navy over in Texas. I've watched all the different things that are going on, and it doesn't take much to just pick up the phone and say, what do I got to do to help?
yeah.
Um,
It's an
this
especially
is
difficult year. Yep,
very, very difficult. And there's more coming in. So if there's anything you can do, I hope you can. I'm sure RFL could probably use volunteers as well. I'm going to put that little plug
oh
right
yeah,
there. And if you don't know, and you want to see the calendar for RFL and its events, head over to RFL of IW, all one word, .org. So I'll say that again, rflofiw.org. And they have an event section, and you click it to go to the Google Calendar, and I'll show you everything that is going on, and you'll be all set. So, with that, I think we're going to wrap up this episode because I have a tuna bandit who will probably kill me now, and it's going to be all your guys' faults, just so you know. Yeah. So, guys, thanks for everybody for showing up. As always, it's always great when you're here and getting the audience questions and being interactive. Um, and hopefully, y'all make it over to the RFL stuff. And hey, man, margaritas! I'm telling you, margaritas. You come down to Panama, you're gonna get some margaritas. My margaritas, okay? I got rum too, S. Chen. Be careful. I got spiced
ooh.
rum sitting over on my counter. They also have coconut rum too, which I also adore. But anyways, I'm digressing. I need to close out the show. Great having everybody here. Thank you so much for being here. Bain, thank you for coming and
yeah.
Oh,
doing
Thanks,
the
thank you
Bain,
for having
RFL.
me.
and for everything you do in here, not just
Uh,
Relay for Life, everything you do to help out the
well,
community.
Yes.
that thanks goes to everybody out there because I just make a little noise. It's all those guys out there that's doing the work.
Everybody who makes a little noise turns into a really loud yell.
I know.
Yeah.
So, everybody, I hope you have a wonderful week. And we will put up the post for the next one, which should be on time. And then we will get back to our normal schedule of shows. Have a great time, everybody. Thanks for being here.
See you soon, guys.
All right, take care, everyone, and thank you for all you do for Inworlds.